It can be taxing and mentally demanding to deal with a harsh and vicious narcissist. Self-centeredness, a lack of empathy, and a persistent need for adulation and control define these people. The relationship, however, changes when an empath, a person who has heightened sensitivity to other people's emotions, assumes leadership. In this video, we'll look at 10 practical methods for bringing evil and ruthless narcissists to their knees. 1. Establish and uphold boundaries. Boundaries are restrictions or boundaries that a person sets to safeguard their physical, emotional, and mental health. Empaths identify acceptable and undesirable conduct from others, especially narcissists, by setting boundaries. Narcissists like exerting control over and influencing others. By establishing clear boundaries, narcissists may find it more difficult to interfere with the emotional well-being of the empath. It enables empaths to safeguard their feelings, retain their personal space, and stop the narcissist from taking control of them. Empaths who set boundaries let narcissists know that they won't stand for abuse or manipulation. Maintaining boundaries entails continually upholding the stated boundaries and refusing to let the narcissist cross them. The narcissist's capacity to dominate and control is reduced as a result of the empath's assertion of their own autonomy and authority. 2. Take care of yourself. Empaths may overlook own needs since they have a propensity to put other people's needs before their own. They may become emotionally spent, burnt out, and have less emotional reserves as a result of this self-neglect. Empaths must practice self-care in order to refuel, maintain emotional equilibrium, and create boundaries. The dynamic between the empath and the narcissist might be upset when empaths take care of themselves. Empaths strengthen their emotional stability and resilience by putting their own needs first. To guard themselves from the narcissist's deceitful methods, they develop inner strength and set limits. 3. Learn to be emotionally resilient. To deal with poisonous relationships, one must cultivate emotional resilience. The term emotional resilience describes a person's capacity to adjust to, recover from, and move on from trying or upsetting circumstances. It entails overcoming stress, skillfully controlling emotions, and keeping a happy attitude in spite of challenging situations. Building a solid and stable sense of self that is based on self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-love is a necessary component of emotional resilience. Empaths can take steps to increase their sense of self-worth and learn about their own limits, which will help them defend themselves against narcissistic manipulation. Narcissists find it harder to dominate and control empaths when they have a strong sense of self. 4. Challenge manipulative strategies. Narcissists use emotional blackmail, guilt-tripping, and other forms of manipulation to exert control over their victims. The stories and claims made by narcissists might be contested by empaths. They might inquire more, look for proof, or point out contradictions in the narcissist's assertions. Empaths may stop the narcissist from using misinformation to control and manipulate people by doing this. Power and control in interpersonal interactions are essential to narcissists. They refuse to be passive victims and instead stand up for their rights, limits, and emotional well-being by confronting deceptive strategies and upending this power dynamic. This may make it more difficult for the narcissist to successfully manipulate and dominate the empath. 5. Learn assertiveness techniques. Assertiveness abilities enable empaths to express their needs, wants, and limits in a clear and assertive manner. Realizing that their feelings and desires are just as essential as anybody else's, they come to appreciate themselves and their well-being. This mentality change enables individuals to liberate themselves from the loop of always meeting the narcissist's demands. Empaths are better able to identify and counteract the narcissist's manipulative techniques when they become more aggressive. They have the ability to speak up with conviction and self-assurance, defend themselves against abuse, and safeguard their emotional and mental health. The dynamics of power and control in the relationship are disturbed by this newly discovered assertiveness. 6. Avoid excessive touch. Empaths frequently need to restrict their interaction with narcissists in order to safeguard themselves and maintain their mental health. The empath can prevent unneeded emotional upheaval by limiting their exposure to the narcissist's harmful actions. This entails drawing lines, putting restrictions on exchanges, and perhaps severing all connections. The empath's ability to maintain themselves depends on this action. Limiting communication also conveys to the narcissist that the empath is aware of the negative dynamics in the relationship and is letting them know about it. By putting distance between oneself and the narcissist, the empath successfully reduces their influence over them. This may result in a change in the dynamics of power in the relationship, ultimately giving the empath more influence. 7. Apply the gray rock technique. With the use of the gray rock approach, narcissists may make empaths purposefully emotionally indifferent and boring. They try to come across as uninteresting, nondescript, and devoid of feelings. This undermines the narcissist's grip and power over the empath by depriving them of the emotional responses and attention they need. The empath effectively deprives the narcissist of the attention and drama they need by withholding their emotional support and keeping a neutral, indifferent countenance. The narcissist may get disinterested in the empath since they aren't getting the anticipated response as a result of this lack of emotional stimulation. The narcissist's ability to exert control over the empath may be reduced if they are unable to feed off of the empath's emotional energy. 8. Put an emphasis on your own development and empowerment. Develop a sense of independence and self-reliance as part of your personal development process. Empaths who put their attention on self-empowerment become less reliant on the narcissist for acceptance or affirmation. As the empath no longer depends on the narcissist's thoughts or praise for their sense of self-worth, this independence reduces the narcissist's control over them. An empath's self-esteem may be raised by taking part in personal growth activities, including self-reflection, goal-setting, and following hobbies. They get a deeper feeling of self-worth as a result of having a better understanding of their abilities, values, and desires. Empaths obtain a sense of agency and control over their own life by putting a high priority on personal development. As they grow more confident in their skills and value, they become less vulnerable to the narcissist's deception. This change in the balance of power may impair the narcissist's capacity to exert control over and dominate the empath. 9. Use your intuition to spot manipulation. When empaths are subjected to a narcissist's manipulation, their intuition develops into a potent weapon for seeing and comprehending the narcissist's strategies. Empaths may be able to discern the narcissist's true intentions behind their words and behavior, allowing them to see through the deceitful facade. They have the ability to detect subtle behavioral patterns, discrepancies, and hidden motives that others would miss. By using their intuition and taking precautions to prevent themselves and others from falling prey to the narcissist's deception, empaths may foresee their actions. They could set limits, state their needs and wants, and decline to be manipulated or dominated. Empaths might react in a way that interferes with the narcissist's capacity to maintain power and control over their environment because of their enhanced emotional awareness. 10. Pointing out fakings. It's common for empaths to be able to see straight through narcissists' facade of charisma, charm, and cunning when they interact with them. They are able to see that the narcissist is acting out of phony emotions and motivations. Empaths have a good intuition and are sensitive to other people's emotional energy, which allows them to distinguish the difference between the narcissist's projected self and their true self. Empaths challenge the narcissist's lack of sincerity in order to emphasize the contrast between the presented image and personality. This exposure may put the narcissist's carefully crafted persona to the test, forcing them to acknowledge the truth of their lack of genuine emotions and motives. Narcissists rely on their ability to control and dominate people in order to fulfill their own demands and aspirations. When empaths expose the inauthenticity, it limits the narcissist's capacity to manipulate since people become aware of their true character. People may become less trusting and susceptible to narcissists' manipulating tactics. Despite the difficult and soul-sucking nature of negotiating a relationship with a harsh and cruel narcissist, there is hope for those caught up in such toxic relationships. By employing these 10 strategies, an empath may regain control over their health and ultimately tip the scales in their favor. The empath's journey to self-awareness and empowerment starts here. The empath may encounter challenges along the road, but ultimately succeed in doing so, leaving the narcissist to face with the consequences of their destructive deeds. By regaining control and refusing to surrender to the narcissist's harshness, they may begin to reorganize their life on the basis of strength and honesty. Post your comments below with your ideas.